And I think we have about 20 plus minutes to the floors. So all the panelists, please come to the front. Raphael, you're somewhere there? Okay. And please take your seats. Well, so we now heard on the texts, but these people really work on the ground. Yeah. So I want to bring that reality to this room, and starting by a question. This traveled with me 5,000 miles to Estonia from Japan. But who can tell us what this is about? What it's used for? Do you use this? Measuring what? Coffee? What? Well, if you're working with your businesses, what are you going to do with this? Yeah, okay. I don't make noodles out of this, right? Okay, good. That's where we're going to. Well, this is a measuring cup for water or any liquid normally, right? And do you know how much, okay, a lot of you are staying in the hotel today, yeah? Have you checked how much water is being used when you're taking a shower or when you're washing hands? Have you noticed? Intentionally? Yeah, some people do. Who are actually on-site auditors here for certification bodies? Is there anyone? Yeah, there are a few. Yeah, that's good. So these people know what I'm talking about. Yeah? For example, if we use the green key criterion for, let's say, a shower, they say per minute it's up to 9 liters. Yeah? But you cannot measure 9 liters on these ones. So if you know that 60 seconds per minute, just cut in 1/10, which is 6 seconds, then it has to be 900 milliliters, which is less than a liter here. So what we do on site is that we actually go to the shower head and measure 6 seconds with a phone, for example. Then if it overfills, you don't meet the criterion. Simple as that. That's reality. And for faucets, that's 8 liters per minute, right? So it's easy. It's if you start measuring, then you know that your savings can be achieved. But if you're just relying on the product, a lot of the hotel managers do that. You're just changing by shower head. Oh, I thought we already got the saving, but it's not really true until you do this. Every rooms, by changing shower heads or lowering pressure in every faucet, it takes a lot of labor into this. But this is what we are talking about. So now what I'd like to go and ask each presenter before coming to your questions is that what would be the biggest challenge in implementing into actions with the business sector? Can I ask you the question, Raphael?
Yeah, so looking from our perspective, working as consultants, our client is the government. And of course, we need to engage with the private sector, we as private sector, but our client is the government. How can we get the government to first comply, the government itself? Because he has to set the example, right? Otherwise, how he can point the finger to the private sector asking, to do anything related to sustainability. So our biggest challenge right now is to convince the government, engage them, and then make sure that they have at least the infrastructure, the framework operating so that they provide, what they need in terms of water supply, the sanitation, the recycling, and so on. Otherwise, let's say, not only in terms of water, but other resources, private sector will do its part, but then when they pass the baton to the government, it will fall. So we see in Barra Grande being such a new destination, the private sector is pretty much engaged in doing its part. And then the private sector, per se, how they can kind of work together with the community who's been living there forever. And then private sector cannot simply come in and say, you should change everything you're doing, it's wrong, you should do like this. So.
Yes, so true. Yeah, thank you. And now from Monique.
The challenge is how to get the private business to put all the action in their daily operation. For example, the waste measurement. Each of the sectors, they have different waste measurement system. How you calculate the waste, but it's a bigger job. Yeah, if they lazy, next year they want to calculate the waste. So I want to ask them to weight the waste, but to find out the way they willing to measure the waste. For example, the size of your waste, the bag, and how you measure it. Maybe one bag, two bag, you have to have the same bag maybe every day. So I think waste is the most challenging part instead of the water or electricity.
True, Monique. Yeah, we know by heart, right? Because utility bills, people get it, every month. So they are built for the consumption. So it's easy to visualize what they are actually consuming. But for the waste, for example, they need to somehow, make it more transparent, counting the number of trash bags, for example. That's a start. That we know how much being consumed, how much you decrease in number. How about you, Susan?
When we approached, or rather the hotel industry started to approach us, their biggest challenge is actually the person who's going to do it. Who's going to be their sustainability officer? Who's going to do all this job of measuring waste, measuring electricity, measuring all the data gathering? So that's the biggest challenge. And who can understand the whole caboodle? That's why I said, the biggest challenge in my first slide before was it's a whole lot of work. But my first presentation was in fact to a chain of hotels, local hotels in the Philippines, who want to do it. But all their general managers are so hesitant about it. The general manager said, the GM said, it's extra work for me. And who's gonna do this? My housekeeping, my engineering, my et cetera, et cetera. So, and then all the department managers also on top of, their regular work, 100 criteria to do all these things? No. But we made a solution for them. And that's actually, there's no one person who can do it alone. It's a team effort. And we have shown also good practices about it when they started to do their sustainability teams, which is in fact actually the requirement and one of the criteria. It's a teamwork. So everyone has to know what the other is doing, and this is where the next challenge is the capacity building, the ABCs literally of sustainability. And for every challenge, there's a solution, and that's why this is what we are here for, and this is what you are here for also, to learn all the solutions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. It's so true, huh? And general managers, a lot of the time they want to do it because they want the branding, eco-labeling. It's great, but who's going to do it? They don't want to have extra work for that. By saving energy, their salary stays the same. So there's no initiative to that, So how about Olga? What's yours?
Yeah, so basically, to be honest, I agree with Susan. For me, the biggest challenge is to make sure that businesses know what is sustainability. We have many examples during the certification process that they, for example, doing the reporting and they are saying, I don't know what is this, or I'm doing nothing basically for this. And then when our experts, when our partners explain to them and give examples, but real examples, we have like a huge reporting that, yeah, you know what, we are doing this as well. So it's really, really important to talk with simple words and to show to businesses that they can start also with small things. It's not necessary to go directly with the huge things. Let's do it step by step. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you should present all the criteria at the beginning. Wow, this is way too much, but you can do by steps.
If I may add, the reason why this chain of hotels, for example, a local hotel in Manila, and in fact also in Indonesia, they want to sign up one chain hotel, 120 hotels, local, is that I just explained simple steps, as Olga said. Do you know that I said watering your plants at night can save you a lot of water? And that is a solution done already by other hotels in Mexico, which I learned from Beatriz, the Mexican in Playa del Carmen. And so we have to see examples. And what our criteria, in fact, is all backed by good practices already. And we are not here talking about research and survey results or what. Each criteria is already backed by good practice. And this is what we want to show, that if other businesses can do it, then all of us can.
Yeah, that's so exactly, yes. Just coming back to Raphael's what said, and he said, a lot of the local governments and any size of government actually, they're trying to attract businesses, saying that they will be subsidizing because they can help businesses to be more sustainable. But at the end of the day, they cannot attract as many as they wished, because they're not really talking about the cost-saving factor and other merits that they're supposed to be seeing. So perhaps, Raphael, because of your experience, what is the suggestion that you could make to maybe DMOs or some local government representatives that are here on the floor?
Yeah, so I think what PLE got right from the start is to look around the globe, and they did a study, a really comprehensive one, to look at, in this perspective of the digital nomad hubs, to try to go and understand which are the established digital nomad hubs and what they did right and not so right, and then the rising digital nomad hubs, such as Ilhas Canarias and others in Brazil and so on. So try to really understand, because once you get the ball rolling, it's really difficult to get things fixed and so on. So before making this big effort, they really did the study, they brought people in, experts, discussed, and they decided, okay, this is our legal framework, this is our main vision, strategy, and these are the partners we need. And then the government can go only as far, and then leave it to the specialists or the community or the private sector or even the customers. They are the ones who are going to say, that's your real feedback. If you get the kind of customers you want, or the amount of customers you want, and this is how you know whether you're doing, the right thing or not. So for local governments working in this broader vision, and also cooperating with kind of your neighbors, neighbor cities, because most of the destinations here that we see, they are kind of connected to a larger network of potential, cities to visit. For example, in Piauí, it's the largest region. It's called Rota das Emoções, Emotions Route. So it involves 3 main destinations, and in the past, they really didn't talk to each other, so they were doing different efforts, spending 3 times resources, 3 times marketing, promotion, and so on, when they could be, a bit more. So engaging as a government also with other governments nearby can be a good tactic, and of course with state or federal government, depending on the country profile.
Great, thank you so much. I'd like to take some time to take questions from the floor, which I'm hoping that you can address directly to a speaker or two, not the entire group. Is there anyone who has a specific questions to a speaker? Can we get the microphone part? Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, okay. I have a question for the Asian partners. My question is, when we look at waste, as you mentioned before, waste is one of the main challenging aspects to measure and to decrease. Can you mention perhaps some good examples of how Asian communities in this Asian network are reducing their waste, specifically in regards to plastic packaging, for example?
Yeah, reducing waste is always an issue. I think we have a hotel. They just give up providing plastic bottle, and instead, because it's a luxury hotel, and instead of the plastic bottle, they bought the very luxury bubble water machine. Yeah, so each of the room they put the glass like a half. Yeah, yeah, and then every floor there is a machine, so nobody complains about the water bottle. And there are 290 rooms in the hotel. So that's I think if they have a more creative thinkings, you can reduce the waste. And also their staff, not only for the customer, their staff. You know, the Taiwan we have a lot of food panda, Uber, and which makes more and more waste than pre-COVID-19. So the staff in the hotel, they automatically they generate they have an idea. They collaborate with some of the drink shops around them, and they use the reusable cups. So I think there are some creative idea can come from the staffs. Yeah. Thank you.
You have to watch our videos. I have a lot of stories about the waste management, ecological solid waste management samples. Most of the hotels now are already turning their organic waste and composting it, and they, like I said, the chain of hotels in the Philippines, they now have rooftop gardens, and the vegetables are already coming from the rooftop gardens. So that's one. And then there's another one also. It's community-based tourism. They collected all the garbage from the town, and they also turned it into compost. And this was during the pandemic. And they turned idle land of like 10 hectares into gardens, and they have excess even vegetables for the 2 years that they didn't have jobs, and even provided food for the town from the waste. And I have a good practice story that also won from one of the resorts in the Philippines. It's called From Waste to Wonderful. They have graphic examples. It's in the website, I think. They have graphic examples and beautiful photos how they repurposed their used tires, their used plastic bottles, because single plastic use is not still banned, I think, by law. But they turned it into eco bricks. You know, so many examples now, and yeah, lots of inspiration. If, as I said, everything is practice based, and most of the hotels now have really turned their also recyclable materials or purposeful, and then donate it to some communities that might need it. So yeah, lots of examples, and the videos will be showing it.
No, maybe I can add 2 more points on that one. Actually, I was in Okinawa in the south of Japan last week, and I was shocked. There are footage 20 years ago that a submarine that went to the Mariana Trench, which is like 6,000, 8,000 meters in depth, and I saw a series of plastic bags floating around. So actually visual, people do not connect sometimes from plastic to dead sea turtle or having so much sea debris, plastic debris in the abyss. I saw a design here in Europe. I think you use it with when it's you use the plastic in the cup, for example, with the sea turtle dying with the plastic. Those kind of things. That anyone can understand what it means. How is it linked? So that's one. And another is, of course, the plastic itself. It's for hotels. It's easy that why would you want to have plastic bottles and having this instead? And you have to really clearly show the sign in the rooms and how hotels have the policy against it. And you can also work with others, and it's actually cost saving. So those are 2 points, easy points. So I want to take another. Okay, it's a hard one, but I saw her. Yes, please.
I'm Alex from Green Case Consulting. I wanted to direct a question at Raphael. Raphael, thanks for your presentation. I found it really interesting and really inspiring. You described how you worked at a lot of different scales with the private sector, and you worked in collaboration with the community and the national government. It's something that's quite often difficult to achieve. So I just wanted to ask if that was something that was conceived at the outset of the program, and sort of what lessons you have about that, and any barriers that you found working kind of in collaboration and across sectors as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was not easy. It's still not easy, and probably will never be easy. But once you get a common vision for the hub, you know, for the project, it starts to get things a little less complicated. We do also some cross benchmark, let's say. One of our inspirations was Estonia in general as a government, how they manage, you know, post-Soviet Union to kind of recreate this less bureaucratic, more digital, working with the private government or private sector. So then we try to somehow apply this to Piauí and Barra Grande. The local government, they already had, you know, some really success cases. So we try to draw from those, and then, you know, try to promote to show that good stuff was being done already. There was also some private sector involved. Barra Grande is such a, you know, an interesting place, and not only speaking, you know, representing it, but also as a kind of a foreigner. I'm from São Paulo. This is Barra Grande in Piauí, and most of the people who visit it, most of them, they fall in love. They really, you know, consider moving it. So lots of private sector people there. That's how they got there. They as investor or as a hotel owner or so on. So they have a real connection with the place, and then trying to cherish that, you know, leverage that is also important, you know. So vision, this cross benchmark plus this connection, and yes, and then whenever there's some dispute, some, you know, disagreement, to have the proper forum to discuss it and to try to solve things, you know. Focus always either on the place, the village itself, the community, and, you know, the visitors. I think they are the three focal points. So yeah, it's a constant, it's an ongoing work. Right now we have a good, you know, conjunction, like, of stakeholders. You know, the pieces are in place. Everyone knows what's their role. But of course, if there's any macroeconomic change or political change, then the arrangement might shake a bit. So try to make sure that, this continuity is also something that we try to. Now the second step is to, let's say, test Barra Grande internationally and see if it sticks as a concept, as a destination. And then maybe the third step would be to try to make it institutional, you know, less dependent on people or specific stakeholders. So then it can go by itself pretty much.
Did he answer your question? Okay. One last question from the floor. You want to go?
2 more. We still have 5 minutes.
No help.
So hi everyone, I'm Yaroslava. I represent Lviv Tourism Office, Ukraine. So I have one direct question to Olga. Because sustainability development is like in Ukraine, it's a early stage because we're like only beginner. And in business sphere, we have the similar situations, like you can say it. Cause also like the business, they don't understand what is sustainability, and they want to know exactly and firstly about financial benefits. Yeah. And also, what can you recommend us how to start our communications and building this strong cooperation with business sphere? Like your advice is 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, and how to encourage business to give this eco certificate, because it's also one problems. And yeah, so it's my questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So first of all, I think it's really important that the businesses also want to do something. So of course we have all these benefits and the financial part, but I do believe that they need to know and to, to be ready to do something for themselves. I do believe that right now the best option is the Good Travel Scan survey, because it's not mandatory for them to go through all the process and receive the verification. It's a first step where you can just invite businesses in an online, for example, meeting, let's say, and play a game. We discussed about a marathon idea or something like this, where we can invite many businesses to just fill in the survey. So they have a first look of the criteria, what sustainability is, and if it's possible for them to do something. So once they have a first look, of course, is our partner's job to show them. That's why we have many material, not only talking about the promotional part, but also to explaining the whole, all the criteria. Also in our platform, because we have also businesses that they don't want to start with the verification. They want to go directly with the certification. That's also fine, because what is really, really important for the Good Travel Seal, for example, is that you don't have now the opportunity to check our reporting platform, but we also have the guidance tab, where basically the businesses can see what exactly have to do, but also some good practices. This is what we also mentioned, examples. So I do believe that kind of, right now in the remote area, online meetings can really work. So altogether, many businesses, the scan, the survey. Also, I think sometimes businesses are afraid when they hear the term certification. It's really huge. They know that they have to do many things. That's why I think we can start with a survey. Let's fill in a survey. Let's check. I hope
does it answer? Okay. Well, we don't have much time left, but what I would like to ask all of you here is that we understand there are so many numbers of businesses out there which we need to convert. But at the same time, we need more of us, or this panelists, who can train the trainers, who can actually audit, who can lead to the certification, and benchmarking all these people. I know that we've been talking a lot about environmental issue. A lot of businesses only think that it's environmental sustainability, but also social aspect, we have the culture aspect. So I want to ask each panelist now, what's in it for them? What drives you that, that you want to convert these businesses to be more green? You must have something that just drives you, So just a few seconds left, but I want to go. Maybe perhaps Olga, you can start and go around.
For sure. Yeah. So basically, for me, is the idea that businesses, they're already doing things, and the environment is the big idea, but also is culture, is local community. Super important for me, and I'm coming from Greece, that the crisis and how is the situation right now. So I do believe that sustainability is the solution, not only for the cost saving, but also to show our practices, to show our culture, for example, to show our history. So yeah, I think this is really important. Thank you, Cesar.
Actually, as I said, in every challenge there is an opportunity. And even, as I said, it's all practice-based. We're not just doing research here. So rest assured that there are replicable models already. And even from Japan, there's a lot already. And Taiwan here has 51 businesses on board. Mexico has just on the first few months that they signed up, one top 100 destination already signed up about 30 businesses. So that's, inspiring. So we start to inspire each other, nominate the destination. Destination must work with the businesses. So the public-private partnership, like what Rafael said, is very important.
As we all know that SDGs is all the goal of the global, but how to implement the sustainable actions is actually an issue for everyone. So, so my point is I always like to find a solution or ways help the business to implement those sustainable actions. Then together we can make up the SDGs goal.
Well, I think in the case of Barra Grande, is not. We don't really need to convince private sector. They kind of have to, because the visitors, the customers, they have high standards. They're kind of picky, and then they will point finger, or they won't visit again that one hotel or accommodation if they don't meet the standards, the criteria that they have. And of course, looking on the other way, it's of course a big opportunity for businesses, because being a small place as Barra Grande, it's kind of a test lab, a laboratory where you can engage with your visitors, develop new solutions, and then replicate that in bigger cities such as São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and others. So this might work for your country or where your business network operates also, right? Try to find a small place with, customers who have this kind of knowledge and visitors, and then replicate this in a larger scale.
Great. That's for me. I don't think it's a big matter. In a sense, I'm very optimist. You do it for your family, your kids or your grandkids. I think our Earth is quite sick now. And if you think about your children and grandchildren, you know what kind of behavior you need to be doing. The tools are already here. So I think all this floor, the like-minded people need to gather and make synergy and tell more about not just the benefits for the businesses, but how we need to integrate all these tools so that we can really transform ourselves. And I think we all understand, and we're on, regardless of where we are, I think we have a part to play. So doing more is, our task. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, and please give a big round of applause to panelists.